young lads of 19, 50 years ago. That gives my age, and we were determined. We've been planning this for 2 years. We were determined to come back 50 years later, and to, if you like, commemorate that event, because it was a great honour for us to have been invited by the United States and by John F. Kennedy's widow. It's a great honour, and today I just felt, I felt the sadness of that occasion again, 50 years later, really.
And so much has been said about in the U.S. that so much has changed in both Ireland and in the U.S.
Yeah.
And yet the feelings about John F. Kennedy haven't changed as much, maybe, as the rest. How would you say he still felt about in Ireland?
Well, he is thought very, very highly of. His death commemoration in Ireland this time has been headline news for the last few days, because everybody remembered where they were, who was alive at that time, remembers where they were when his death was announced. He had just visited Ireland a few months previously, and we looked upon him as one of our favourite sons, and he responded to that, to the Irish people, in a wonderful way. So he is very close, and in many, many houses in Ireland, his portrait still hangs on the wall, in many houses in Ireland. So he's held in very high esteem.
So much has happened in Ireland with the institutions, with the church, with the government, with the economy. Is this something that is this one icon that kind of hasn't been shattered?
Yeah. Well, this is true. Of course, he died a young man. He was only 45 years of age. He died a young man. So, and he had inspired the people at the time, and as you say, it hasn't been shattered. Because as I said there in my address, that he dreamt and believed that the world could be a better place. He said that, and we really believed that. We were inspired by him, and what he'd done at that stage, and even his handling of the Cuban Missile Crisis and so on, which had avoided a more horrible war. So we looked upon him as a person to be admired, I must say.
And that day, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, probably by family and friends too. What did you feel when you were performing that day, that drill?
Well, as I said, I was 19 years of age. We were very young, and I think the overall feeling was one that we had to do a good job. It's quite an intricate drill. It's not easy drill. It requires total concentration, and Kennedy had been very taken by it when it was performed in Dublin at Arbor Hill, and he complimented the officer of the day that day, said it was an absolutely fine guard of honour. It's a kind of a silent drill, and it's special only on funerals of heads of state and so on is it performed, and it's not performed anymore in the same way because we don't have that old weapon anymore. But at that time, we had the sadness, but then at the same time, there was a huge excitement of the occasion. Now, as well as that, there was a certain amount of fear mixed in that, because nobody knew what was happening. Was this a front man that had caused this assassination, and could it lead to something like another war or something, So there was a mixture of all those emotions at that time.
And I've seen the TV4 documentary where they talked about having to rally all the cadets back because they were away.
Right.
Where were you? Where did they find you to tell you to come back?
I was in Dublin. I was on leave in Dublin and socialising, I must admit. And I got a phone call to the manager of the establishment I was in saying, "Are you a cadet?" He tapped me on the shoulder because we had distinctive short haircuts, and at the time of the Beatles, so most young people had long hair. So we had he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "You wanted the phone," and I was told to get back quick. And I ran to O'Connell Street, the main street of Dublin, flagged a cab, and raced to the car, which was about nearly an hour away, and just got back in time to get on the Guard of Honour and catch the flight the following morning. So it was very hectic, I can tell you, but there you are.